Now, Sports Talk with Brodes. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. If you told me I was forced to put my savings on Joel Embiid playing this game or Joel Embiid not playing this game before the matchup went down, I would be broke, because there was no way in hell I thought this team was going to force Joel Embiid out there after taking that hard fall against the Lakers and when LeBron James had the flagrant one foul called against him. But I was wrong, and this just continues to prove that this is a different Joel Embiid. Not only did he play, but he managed to dominate the game at an elite level. Now let's be realistic. The Minnesota Timberwolves blow, and they don't have Karl Anthony Towns, which changes the matchup that Joel Embiid would have seen on the floor. But it's just about the determination. So the shots weren't falling for him. That's fine. So he shoots 4 of 12 from the field. The field goal percentage was abysmal. That's fine. He got to the free throw line whenever he wanted to, and he was 12 of 12 from the charity stripe in the first half. He finished 16 of 18, and there's some stats here I want to throw around at you. So, he is averaging 12.2 free throw attempts per 36 minutes. Shaquille O'Neal is the closest in the last 20 years, and he averaged in that 10 to 11 range. And keep in mind, that man would get fouled insanely. He couldn't knock down his free throws, which is one of the reasons why, but that actually describes this even more and how outrageous this is. Giannis, James Harden, they don't even compare to the pace that Joel Embiid is on right now. This is insanity. I really don't know if you can truly comprehend how insane and wild this is, but it's just light years, night and day from anyone who ever played in the NBA when it comes to Joel Embiid and his free throw attempts per 36 minutes. And I just want to throw this out there. There was a caller that called for the Sixers-Lakers game, and he said that LeBron whines and gets all the calls. And I brought up, look, Joel Embiid is the same thing. Recognize that. Now, I'm not trying to take away anything on Joel Embiid. Like, Joel Embiid is so much fun to watch, must-watch television every single night, and he is destroying every single opponent. His mindset is locked and loaded, and he's ready to pull the trigger night in and night out, which we are not accustomed to that. Joel Embiid in years past would easily kick his feet up. This time, he took his shoes off, but it was after logging in 27 minutes and scoring 37 points and grabbing 11 rebounds as well. So it's totally different. I'm not trying to knock Joel Embiid by bringing up that NBA stars get calls in this league, but I just wanted to, put it into context here that, hey, the team you love gets some calls as well. There's no doubt about it, but I'm here for it. I'm here for it every single night. Joel Embiid constantly posting up. That third quarter was strictly him saying, you know what, I'm done with this. I want to sit down. I want to relax. Give me the damn basketball. Let me score an obnoxious amount of points and blow this team away. 5 straight post-ups. And one of the things Doc Rivers continues to stress is, if we see a play that works, we're going to keep running it and running it and running it until the other team stops it. And I'm not against that philosophy to a point. You can get away with it when you're playing a team like the Minnesota Timberwolves. They couldn't do a damn thing out there. And look, that idea, I'm not saying it will never work. I get it. Why stop running a play if the other team has no idea how to separate you from the ball or has no idea how to jump the play and get a steal or just how to defend you in general? Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep shoving it down their throat. The only thing I want to point out with that, though, is guess what? When you play teams like the Boston Celtics and when you play teams like the Bucks and when you play teams that are up at the top of the Eastern Conference, the Brooklyn Nets, in a 7-game series, you might have to make that adjustment quicker, and you might not have the chance to run the same play again to see if it continues to work and continues to work and continues to work. These better teams are going to catch on with that. And as soon as he said that, all I thought about was that Athletic piece that was written when he was still in LA. It was actually right around the time he got fired. But Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, they had some things to say. That wasn't necessarily them talking in the Athletic piece. It was more Paul George talking on a podcast afterwards. But the Athletic piece somewhat defended what Paul George was saying. Ultimately, though, when they were up 3-1 in a playoff series, just keep doing your thing. You have more talent. You'll beat the Denver Nuggets. Just continue to play the style of basketball we've played all year. You'll beat them. Don't worry about it. No adjustments needed. Just keep playing. You're up 3-1. You'll beat the team eventually. And they fell flat on their face. And it is something that is a stain on Doc Rivers' resume. I love what Doc Rivers has done to this point. I just think it's fair to look at it objectively and see if there is a correlation between his past and how he has underachieved in the past and him saying that he's just constantly going to run the same plays over and over and over again. Look, if the other team can't defend it, I'm totally acknowledging that I see where he's coming from. I just think at some point, that could come back to bite you. It could be the reason why you win some nights. It could also be the reasons why you lose some nights as well, because guess what? That team might snag you in a spot where they got you. They got you right where they wanted to because they knew that you would constantly perform similar action. Just something to keep an eye out on, that's all. Joel Embiid, though, sensational. He really was. It's so damn entertaining. It's reached an all-time high. When I watch James Harden and when I watch Kevin Durant and when I watch LeBron James, when I watch anyone around this league that's not the 76ers, Luka Doncic or Trae Young, like I admire those guys because, well, you don't watch them as much. I watch all 82 of Joel Embiid and I study this team, X's and O's, strategy, night in and night out. Like I feel I more cover the team than it is, watching some of these other stars around the league. So when I watch those other stars, I watch them with a different focus, with more of a let's just embrace what they do because it's so wild and they're so unique in their own way and they find ways to control a basketball game at ease in these styles that's mesmerizing. Well, it's almost like I took that approach to Joel Embiid after a handful of games this season where I recognize, hold on a second, this is seriously a different style of Joel Embiid and I'm here for it. The fact that he played this game, I'm stunned. I really am. I'm stunned. When I saw the Sixers Twitter tweet out that he was going to go and he was in the starting lineup, I went full, here we go, baby. Here we fucking go. Because he gets me that excited. I am now watching with a fresh set of eyes. Just appreciate what this man does on a consistent basis at this point. Think about how many times you look at the box score and you see 35, 37, 40 plus. It's almost every single night. Every night. And he was challenged by Doc Rivers. And I love that. He answered the bell. Doc Rivers essentially said, you left some of those guys off the hook. Now, the first half, the Sixers couldn't find any sort of rhythm offensively. They couldn't shoot and make the shots. They weren't necessarily bad looks, but they couldn't get it through the hoop. They shot 35% from the field. They had about 2 3-pointers, so it really wasn't clean whatsoever. And Doc kind of called out Joel. And then he had that explosive third quarter, and it just shows me the leadership. And it shows me how he is so obviously stepping up and being what this franchise really needed him to be. By the way, we are broadcasting live as we continue this conversation from the Manscaped Man Cave. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BROD at manscaped.com. So I was looking up some stats with this Sixers team, right? And there is a lineup just flat out can't work anymore, and I don't want to see Doc Rivers utilize it moving forward. When Ben, Matisse Thybulle, and Dwight Howard on the floor, there are problems when it comes to scoring the basketball. They are a minus 27.4 net in 101 possessions. It's something that can't continue to happen, and it's so clear that brutal things occur when that lineup is available. And I know Doc has mentioned that he wants to keep Ben, Joel, or Tobias out there at the same time, and he also mentioned that power forward, backup power forward role a bunch of times as well. I think if this team is going to make a move, because everyone talks about that, right, with Daryl Morey, what's next? Is it Ben for Bradley Beal? What are they going to do? I really believe that what they are going to do, just based off of how many times I hear Doc Rivers talk about this when it comes to press conferences, it's going to be someone who can back up Tobias Harris because he plays a lot of minutes. You don't have much there. Mike Scott is not available, and even when he is available, he's not someone you can rely on. Sure, Ben Simmons can play off the ball there, but it was also discussed with Ben Simmons maybe playing backup 5 minutes as well because, look, Dwight Howard, as much as he has a role here, we love his professionalism and we love that he is helping groom Joel Embiid into the special player that he is. Sometimes he's not really successful and he goes through all these spurts of foul trouble and whatnot, and even though he plays so many limited minutes as it is, it shouldn't really matter how many fouls he picks up. But Dwight Howard, night in and night out, is not always consistent enough. I think trying Ben Simmons at the 5, it couldn't hurt. I mean, look, I like Dwight Howard, and I like what he has brought, the element he has brought to this team, but I'm not going to act as if that's the only possible 5 that you can put out there when Joel Embiid is not out on the floor. And if Doc Rivers is trying to get creative to maximize his best players and to keep one of these players out there on the floor at the same time, maybe that's something that has to be done. Something to keep an eye out on. But in terms of Matisse, Ben, and Dwight Howard, you do not have enough scoring. Your spacing is out of whack, and it causes so much trouble. Please, let's try and move away from that lineup. It's so hard to watch. It really is. Someone else who's struggling right now, Shake Milton. There were spurts where he was giving you 20-plus off the bench. He really hasn't been in his purest form. Now, he did score points in this game, but it wasn't at a very efficient rate. It wasn't that great looking. It was very choppy, if you will, and I think we need to get Shake Milton back in his groove because you're going to have to rely on someone to step up off the bench to create some sort of spark, and especially a guy who's going to be rocking the ball and you're putting the ball in his hands. He's going to have to run the point, run the floor, and get this team to operate in a good way when some of these players are off the court. I think we need to rely more on Shake Milton in terms of bigger picture, not so much tonight in this blowout win against the Minnesota Timberwolves, but it just hasn't been the best Shake Milton that we are accustomed to seeing. I think he's going to snap out of it, but he needs to snap out of it. What else do we have? Oh, Tobias Harris with that monster jam take to the basket. That was forceful. You go to the lane with that type of power and with that type of motivation, you're going to drill anyone who thinks they're coming in your space to block your shot. Tobias Harris put anyone on a poster. Anyone he wanted to, he'd put him on a poster with that type of attitude and swag going to the rack. And that was a great play out of Tobias. Not that it was a really solid night for him by any means. He didn't have one of his efficient Tobias Harris games, but you didn't really need it. All right, not everyone's going to be full on their A-plus game every tip-off, and that's okay. But he had that nice moment in there that you can't forget about. How about Matisse Thybulle? Matisse Thybulle with the deflections, nonstop working on the defensive end. And even throughout the beginning of the game, the first half, I should say, when the Sixers were not able to really get some sort of rhythm going and they weren't able to knock down their shots and deliver, they still had enough on the defensive end. Their work ethic was there. It wasn't one of those nights where they flat out didn't show up and they didn't feel like competing and they got out-muscled or anything like that early on. They just couldn't find the basket. But they were getting good looks, they were passing the basketball, and they were playing hard defensively. So you figured if they kept it up that eventually they would run away with it. They were up somehow, some way, and it's not really somehow, some way, the answer is Joel. But after that first half ended, it was miserable for them. They were still up 5 points, and that just shows you the power of getting to the free throw line, because that's how they made up all of their points. All right, guess what? I can't score tonight. What are you going to do? Find a way. If you're going to struggle, that's fine. That happens. It's natural in the game of basketball. If you're not going to be able to deliver, fine. But find ways. Attack the basket, get fouled, draw contact. There's plenty of ways to get points up on the board if your number one option is not really going that specific night. And that's what they did. And that just shows me the understanding of the game, the IQ of the game. The team came together and realized, we got to do something here, because if we continue this, we might score more eventually, but we got it. We got to slow this thing down. We got to make sure we keep attacking here, and let's go. Let's go, everyone. We're all on the same page, right? Let's get to the free throw line. And that's what they did, and it kept them involved, and they took the lead, and from there, they never really looked back. You got trash moments towards the end, where you got a bunch of bench guys getting in there just to let the stars rest. Good. You're going to need that. You have your players playing every night at this point. They are locking in. They are putting in their timesheet. So when you can get a 27-minute Joel Embiid night, that's huge. And as much as I talk about how Joel Embiid is somewhat battling through all of these games, let's look at it from this perspective. He's not hurt. Screw what I mean by, hey, this shows a different mentality from the leader, and this is a different Embiid in terms of playing, and no matter who the opponent is, he's going to log in minutes. Screw that for just one moment. Look at it from his back is good. This guy's been taking a beating. This guy has used a lot of possessions. This guy has been your offense all the time, nonstop. The game runs through the big man. And he's taking big hits from LeBron James. Let's just appreciate his physical nature right now and his body keeping it 100. Because we know that's important too. You need that. No doubt you need that. Now, I do want to bring up, because he's a Philadelphia legend, he did a lot for this city, and he has impacted this city like the best who ever stepped foot in Philadelphia has, and that's John Chaney. He passed away today at the age of 89, and it's crushing. It really is. He is a really special person when it comes to college basketball, when it comes to Temple basketball, when it comes to Big Five basketball, and hell, not even in just the sport of basketball, but as a person who has touched so many people all around the South Jersey, Philadelphia area. I just want to say rest in peace. You were so meaningful to all of us here. You're a big part of what this city is all about. So once again, rest in peace, John Chaney. When I found the news out, my heart sunk into my stomach. I felt like I just turned white as a ghost, and I really couldn't comprehend what happened. It stung me. It stung me, and it stunned me. And I was lost for words. So, I remember all those NCAA tournament runs, the Elite Eight runs, not being able to touch the Final Four. That was always something that hurt him so much inside. And then we all know the famous story about him and John Calipari. And look, I was a young kid during those times. Well, I wasn't born in 94 when that happened, but 95 I was. But I'm just talking about his tenure and when he was in the prime of his coaching career and all. I was super young, and I was just a nobody, but I think that really defines how much he means to Temple and how much he means to this environment, that I didn't even truly experience it. And I know that, I'm aware of that. I didn't experience the John Chaney life, but he still hit me that hard. The death still hit me that hard. So I just want to send my best wishes out to his family, his loved ones, everyone in the media here, everyone who played for him, all of his coaching staffs, everyone involved. My condolences to you. We lost a fantastic human being. All right, so let me tell you about my friends right now over at DraftKings. Pigskin fans, the moment you have been waiting for all season long is right around the corner, and DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of Super Bowl 55, is bringing back their golden ticket giveaway with up to $55 million in prizes up for grabs. All you have to do to get your share of these huge prizes is enter DraftKings' free Super Bowl prediction challenge. Once you submit your picks, you will get a free instant prize up to $25,000. And if you have the most predictions correct, you can win the top prize of $1 million. Download the DraftKings app now and use promo code Brodes to enter the free $55 million Super Bowl prediction challenge. Everyone gets an instant prize up to $25,000 just for playing. So use promo code Brodes now and enter the free $55 million Super Bowl challenge. Only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of Super Bowl 55. Terms, conditions, and eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. Tyrese Maxey. It was nice to see him get a little spurt in there, show a little bit of offensive production again. He's been lacking some minutes, lacking some opportunities, and because the bench was able to get in there late, deeper in the bench, not that he's super deep, but you saw his minutes get dialed back against the Lakers, and I think that was a statement from Doc Rivers. One, a teaching moment, like, hey, sit on the sidelines and watch this, because this is LeBron. All right, this is LeBron and AD in their best form. Go watch this from the sidelines. He played about 6 minutes or so. That was a statement. And you kind of seen his limits, his minutes getting restricted a bit more. So it was nice to see him. He finished with 8 points in 10 minutes. Made a nice couple buckets for sure. All right, let's take some Anytime Hotline calls, shall we? I want to hear what you had to say after tonight's win.
Hey, Brodes. Calling in after the game today. 118-94 win. Good win. Hey, man, just a little quick story for you. I was walking around Dick's Sporting Goods today, and I saw the new City Edition jerseys, the all black with the new numbers and everything. And all they had was Ben Simmons, which makes me think that Joel Embiid's jerseys were sold out. I guess that makes sense. I was tempted to buy one, man, but then I thought about it, and I was like, well, this guy may not even be here in a couple months. So your thoughts on that? Much respect to the show. Show's doing great as always. Tobias looked good tonight. Ben looked aggressive tonight. Not as aggressive as he could be, but still we're getting there. Joel looked good. Your thoughts on the game are always great and warranted, so good job with the show. Looking forward to hearing what you got on.
Thank you. Thank you so much for making the phone call and all the great words that you said, and I'm so thankful for you for supporting the show and calling in. The jersey thing with Ben Simmons. I feel they're playing so damn well right now that I don't think Daryl Morey is going to pull the trigger on anything like that. This team with their starting five is winning basketball games, and that's the most important, right? When you have your full team, full throttle, if you succeed when they are all on the floor and you're running your action, then what do you want to change? And I firmly believe that Doc Rivers has a say when it comes to making that move or not. And there were some reports that there were offers for Ben Simmons, and it wasn't just Daryl Morey saying yes or no. There was communication between the two, and Doc Rivers kind of put his hand up and go, I don't think we should do this right now. I don't know what the deals were. I don't know if this was in regards to James Harden or, whatever the case may be, but there were reports that Ben Simmons was on the table, and people were making calls, and Doc Rivers kind of said, hey, let's stay put. Doc Rivers had an input on that, and I think he has a big voice. If he wants to stay with Ben, which it seems he does, I think Ben Simmons is here for sure. So maybe you should go get that City Edition jersey, which is growing on me every time I do see it. I thought at first, now it's, that's unbelievable. I'm a big fan of the City Edition jerseys with Bauhaus Row. Ben Simmons and his aggressiveness. I thought that there were times where he was clearly looking for a shot, like he was taking a form of a shot. It wasn't a baby hook. It wasn't a layup. It wasn't a kiss off the glass. He would try and square up his body. Now, it wasn't from far distance or anything. I'm talking maybe 5, 6, 7 feet. Specifically, first quarter, he would try and square up early. Shots came up short. I'm realizing over the last 4, 5, 6 games or so of Ben Simmons, when he does take the shot, it's coming out super short, and it's like really, really short. I've already mentioned that his last 3 3-point attempts, 2 were air balls, and 1 barely nicked the rim, enough for you to be satisfied that it wasn't an air ball. And now a couple shots tonight came up short. I'm just trying to see if there's a reason why that is, and if that's a focus point between him and Sam Cassell as he continues to try and add that part of his game. I thought he was aggressive, but it wasn't really efficient aggressive, but I guess I can't argue for too much right now. Like, I'm begging the guy just to go downhill. As long as he's going downhill, I guess that's all I can really say at this point. I guess this is one of those games for Ben where I was so in tune with Embiid, and you're going up against a bad team where I'm just not going to nitpick Ben tonight. I don't think Ben's play really made that much of a passionate effect on how I feel. The matchup, the game, it didn't give me that vibe. I think because that team stinks, they're so bad, and Embiid, he was the guy tonight, and he said, hey, let me close this thing out. Let's put this thing away in the third quarter. That Ben and the frustration of what he does and what he doesn't do, and even the admiring part of his game, it just wasn't there for me out of Ben as a whole in this specific matchup. But I thought that there were times that stood out to me where he was clearly looking to try and score. He just didn't effectively do it in this one.
Just a nice professional win by a championship caliber team, the 76ers. They had us in the first half, not going to lie, but I think we all knew that poor shooting wasn't going to last that long. But credit to them, they still battled through it. They got to the free throw line, they played gritty defense, and then when the shot started falling, it really wasn't close. Joel Embiid, 37 points in 3 quarters. Pretty insane. How about that Tobias Harris poster? Pretty fun. And everyone else just kind of did their thing and knocked down shots. This is a side note, but I really like that Isaiah Joe kid. I think, maybe not this season, but in a few seasons he can be something.
I agree with you there. Yeah, I think they look at Isaiah Joe as someone that they can really mold into a successful 3-and-D guy. He gives you better defense than Furkan Korkmaz. And I know people are going to mention that he made a nice play and he got his fingerprint, he got his hands in there to create some nice turnover, and then Dwight Howard ended up missing the pass, I should say, not the throw. This isn't football. The pass to Furkan Korkmaz. Furkan's not going to be making really nice plays defensively against better talent. I see guys target him every single damn time they come up the floor. But I think that Isaiah Joe eventually can outperform Furkan Korkmaz. I think now, because Korkmaz has been in the league for a couple years and he has a better understanding of NBA basketball just based off of logging in way more minutes, that Doc Rivers feels more comfortable with him. And I don't necessarily disagree. I don't think Isaiah Joe is ready, but I think he is going to seriously push for minutes in this franchise eventually. It's just a tough spot right now because if you're a young guy coming onto a team in the Sixers, you're in like win now, hey, let's go fight for a championship type mode. It's not the same as playing for the Bulls, playing for the Timberwolves, where it's more roll out the basketball and just go learn and experience and go through the ups and downs. Now there's more pressure, and the fan base is hitting harder, and the media attention is more, and you're on TNT, and you're playing the Lakers, and you're just more serious of a basketball team. And I think this team has really shown me that they are better than I anticipated heading into the season. I am now coming down with my first real assessment on this team, and they are more legit than I thought that they would be, and I'm really shocked that just the spacing has made that much of a difference for everybody to perform at a higher level. And that's why when I brought up that Ben, Matisse, Dwight Howard lineup, they're minus 27.4 net in 101 possessions. I mean, that just really does show you night and day what shooters and what scoring does for you when it's on the floor and when it's off the floor. But there's other things involved, right? Like Tobias Harris is playing with the biggest set of confidence. I lost my train of thought there completely. I don't even know if the biggest set of confidence makes any damn sense, but he's playing with so much damn confidence that he has taken his game to a whole nother level, and Doc Rivers just has everything figured out when it comes to Tobias. But one thing that's always crazy to me is, we keep talking about quicker decisions and knowing what to do with it. There's a lot more than just that happening. And I think maybe the answer just strictly is confidence. But, we always talk about not putting the ball on the floor so much and this and that. And don't get me wrong, it's obviously not the same as it was last year when he struggled to really dive into a specific role. But I still see him putting the ball on the floor. And I still see him taking fadeaway jump shots. And I still see him take these tougher shots where it's not, Tobias Harris is just not thinking as much in those scenarios. There's more to it. But I love it. And if you get this version of Tobias Harris, I don't know what the ceiling is, but it's high. It's high. Joel, Tobias, and Ben. If they can consistently play, because right now, it seems that Embiid and Tobias are consistently, I know tonight wasn't Tobias' best night, but those two have consistently been able to give you who they are. The one lone duck, his name's Ben Simmons. And when Ben Simmons can give you his best, you're beating the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't think it's ironic. I think that's telling you everything you need to know.
Yes, Brodes. This version of Embiid is what we went through everything for. All the time he had to spend out, the heartache, all the building, all the seeing him grow into what he is now. And this is really the season. I mean, it's been the season before, but this is really where he has a solid chance at an MVP. He's probably the front runner for an MVP right now. And if he can bring that to Philly, I mean, bro, I might just cry, Brodes. Good talking to you, Brodes. Have a good one, man. See you on the next one.
Absolutely, absolutely. Ooh, I feel that emotion, and I really do love it. If Embiid wins the MVP, that would be fantastic, and I'm with you. He's definitely leading the NBA right now. He's on a tear. I don't think anyone other than LeBron James is seriously on where Embiid is at the moment. Yes, LeBron James. I know it's not sexy. I know it's boring. Oh, LeBron James. Yes, LeBron James. Yes, LeBron James. But just think about what I'm saying. Joel Embiid is playing at a pace where he's on level and on par with LeBron James. That's so damn fantastic. I will always point this out, and I don't think that it's me being negative. I just try and look at everything at all angles. Giannis, MVP, that's all great and dandy, but Giannis isn't satisfied because he wants the Larry O'Brien. I think Joel Embiid is the same way. Look, at the end of the day, an MVP trophy is fantastic, and it's awesome to put in your display at your home, in your trophy case. But I feel Joel Embiid is the same way. Oh, that's great, I won the MVP. I don't give a fuck. I want to win a championship. So while I'm not going to discredit if he does that, that would be an amazing thing for this city to experience. Have an MVP of the league, that would be so awesome. Like, I'm so here for it. I'm pulling for it more than anybody. But I know Joel Embiid to this point. Not personally, but just by watching him from a distance. That championship is way more satisfying than that MVP. And I think that's his mindset. And I want that to be his mindset. And I'm just going to clarify. It is his mindset. We all know that. We all know that.
Yo, bros, what's going on, man? Great win. In my eyes, I think that was a great win. Very underwhelming in the first half, I'm going to be completely honest with you. In the second half, Joel Embiid happened. I mean, he absolutely took the game over.
The second half, Joel Embiid happened. Do you think that's what the other team says when they leave the locker room? You know what? Joel Embiid happened. I don't know what you want us to do. Or do you think the coach, after the game, having their post-game, not interview, their post-game, come to my brain. Their post-game meeting? Not really meeting. Am I really going to sit here and try and think of the word? The post-game speech? I don't know. My brain has totally hit a wall here. I was going so strong. I was giving you A+ effort, and then I just hit a damn wall. So I'll summarize real quick here. Do you think that team leaves the arena going, you know what? Joel Embiid had a great second half. We got Joel Embiided. Does that even make sense? All right, I really am done. I'm sorry. I thought I had it. I thought I could keep going. I don't know what the hell just happened. We're just going to end abruptly. Sadly. My brain is mush. I seriously have no clue what just happened. Am I really going to end it this way? Yeah, maybe. Jeez. With over 20 years of experience in the solar industry, Orbit Energy empowers home to your solar experts in residential and commercial projects. They are dedicated to making sure your project is completed easily and properly by using high-quality materials and trained professionals to get the job done right. Their solar program eliminates your electric bill completely, offering flexible financing solutions such as $0 down. They also provide water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, and more. I'll try better next time. That was something else. Thank you all so much for listening, and I will see you next time.